Day in advance, so we're ready to hear your presentation. If we have time for questions at the end, we'll do that.
Okay, excellent. So my name is Parvez Mohsin. I'm the Director of Development for the Nashville International Center for Empowerment. We are a ethnic community-based organization here in Nashville, which was initially founded by a former refugee and child soldier, Gatluak Thak. Our primary goal is to ensure that refugees and immigrants achieve their full potential while living in Nashville and become economically independent and self-sufficient. We serve our populations through 6 core programs, which is adult education, community empowerment, employment, health, immigration, and refugee resettlement. We hope that each one of the clients that come to us would be kind of like a one-stop place where they get all the services they need. We are culturally competent organization to be able to give services to a particular community of refugees just because we understand their lived experience, and we also are culturally competent in the sense that we speak over 70 languages, all of us together, and are able to translate and help them navigate while they're trying to achieve long-term integration in Nashville and the United States. So we have served since the beginning of the organization over 28,000 refugees and immigrants in Davidson County. But most recently, we've been experiencing a high influx of what you call secondary migrants. Secondary migrants are individuals who have been, for example, resettled in another state and decide to move to Nashville. You know, it's the it city now. Everybody wants to come here. They have families over here that they're trying to connect with. It's still relatively economic and cheap to live here, and all of these incentives are part of the reason that they're moving here. So to give you a picture, there's over 7,000 asylum seekers living in Nashville right now. They end up coming to our doors. With what happens with asylum seekers and secondary migrants is that the federal government, who we work under, does not give us funding for these groups. It's very limited. So if we were not to help these groups of people, they will continue living in this situation of marginalization and poverty, and it would take them longer to integrate to Nashville and find pathways to become, I guess, economically self-sufficient. Our motto is that we don't turn anyone away, so we have been serving them and trying to help them, to connect them to resources, even though we are you know, feeling the economic burden of this aspect. We believe that with this appropriation, we can help at least 100 families achieve, you know, economic self-sufficiency and be able to contribute economically back to the city, and to be less dependent on services. Do you have any questions for me? In a nutshell, I think that's what we're requesting, funding for a caseworker that would be able to assist them navigate all the services, to get housing, to get employment, to get their children into schools, and any kind of other benefits that they may need during their first few months here.
How big is your staff?
We are right now full-time 25, and we have other part-time employees. Because our adult education program, which has received state funding to teach English to individuals who have interrupted education, and also train them for workforce development into the clusters of employment in the city, also has part-time staff teaching these classes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your funding streams that are coming in?
Our funding is diverse in the sense
Just
that
percents,
yeah, we get 80% of our funding from the federal government.
about 80?
Yes,
Okay.
Has
And-
it taken a big hit lately?
yes, it has. We lost 20% last year, and we're expected to lose another 20% in this fiscal year.
Wow.
But we also are funded by several foundations here in the city. But as you know, the pie is getting smaller because there's so many groups like us also seeking funding.
So if you were to be granted this appropriation, what would be your plan for sustainability? And
Well-
being able to keep that position long-term?
Well, all right. We've already applied for other grants to match these funds to ensure that. What we've done with some of the private foundations is that we're seeking this position from them also. We are also in the process of starting a staffing agency to get refugees and immigrants into these employment clusters that have high demand in Nashville. And this could be, it's going to be registered as an LLC, so it's going to be another stream of income for us that's going to be outside of the scope or of the federal grants. And it will help us be more sustainable and to be able to fund positions like that. But, we need help to get us there.
So do you find the work, NICE's work, is it more that people come to your physical space and receive English classes or other types of training and services? Or is it more, or tell me what the balance is, that you have caseworkers that work with an individual person or family and go out and help them navigate Nashville? What does that breakdown look like?
Okay, usually our caseworkers deal with refugees that have been resettled by us. The number oscillates depending on the national number of refugees being resettled. So we help them navigate the first 90 days with caseworkers who are resettlement caseworkers. And then there are other programs that are funded by Catholic Charities, the Tennessee Office of Refugees, where we can help them for another additional 2 years. But programs such as immigration, which we charge a really small fee, which is an administrative fee, and we walk them through the process of naturalization to help them civically engage. That can be individuals that have been here for longer than 2 years and who've decided to now pursue, certain immigration benefits. So it's wide, and employment, even though we secure employment for them within 90 days, a lot of individuals continue to come back to us afterwards, even after several years. So they might not have specific case management, but they will need someone to connect them with an employer.
And what's your annual operating budget?
$1.6 million right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I got one more question.
Sure.
What does success look like for somebody that comes through your organization?
Okay, I'm going to give you two examples. One of them is something that I experienced very recently. We resettled in a family of two approximately 3 years ago. We walked them through the usual services that we're required to give them, which is housing, employment, and make sure that they get all their IDs that they need to live here in Nashville. This individual came back to me approximately 2 weeks ago. They have got together with a group of community members, Congolese, and because they're being affected by the housing crisis, they bought this plot. So 10 families are now building their own houses there. I asked him how much he had saved, and he has approximately $40,000 saved between him and his wife. They bought the plot already, they have the developer. That to me is a success story. I mean, it's amazing. To me, because I offered to connect him with my realtor initially. He said, no, I don't need that.
And how long has that family been here?
They're about to be here for 3 years now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And all of these 10 families have saved $40,000+. and navigating the system even better than me, you know. And another case is even families that come with real exacerbated cases of health problems. One family that we described in the application, they moved from Utah, and they have no one here. So they came to our doorstep, can you help us? The son had an operation when he moved from the refugee camp, and they removed this massive tumor, and he had lost his eyesight. But the family did not know that the stitches needed to get removed. So these had become fused and started healing with the skin. This kid is blind, he's going through severe pain, shows up at NICE, and what we decided, we connected them with health providers that work with us, like Vanderbilt, and they took care of them. Also found them housing, gave them some funds to get an apartment, found the father employment, and in this Christmas, their entire apartment got furnished by one of our volunteers through a contact of our CEO, who is a business owner here in Nashville, quite well known, and clothes and all kinds of amenities and things were bought for them. So that is a success story because they haven't come back to us and are able to continue living here without being an economic burden to anyone. You know, last year alone, just our employment department contributed over $4 million into the Nashville economy by generating employment, much needed employment. The employers keep coming back to us.
Can you talk about any metro agencies that you partner with?
We work with Vanessa Lasson, with the Office of New Americans. We always request letters of support from her for whenever we're applying for grants. I'm also part of, among other staff members of My City Academy. So we are working in direct conjunction with any needs and in any way that we can collaborate. We're also part of the South Zone Committee for housing. We sit on that table, making sure that our communities get the appropriate housing and that they don't get displaced, and that we can, we believe in, mixed economy kind of situation where we can all live together and not have to displace each other.
I'm good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Tell Gat